All right, so who wants to start us off? Give me a basic, where is Frida from and what kind of time period are we talking about here? Who's got number one for me? You still pulling it up? I don't know. I know you did these because I checked them off. Are we there? Are we there? Number one, where's Frida from and what time period are we talking about today? Thanks, Anna. Start us off.
Okay, so she was from Mexico and she was born in like 1907. So
Perfect. And do you have when she died on there? I don't know the exact year, but it's about
1954.
Okay, so basically Mexico and like the first half of the 1900s, right? So she was born early 1900s and then she passed away kind of mid 1900s. Okay, good. So tell me the same question number two about Diego. What do we learn about Diego, Gus?
He was also from Mexico and he was born in 1886 and lived until 1957.
Okay, so also from Mexico, and he was a little bit older, right? He was born late 1800s and lived just a tiny bit longer. Great. Okay, so why are we talking about these guys together? So we have Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera, both famous painters, famous artists. How are they connected here? Number three, who's got that one for us? Alyssa, go ahead.
Were they married?
They sure were. Any more details on that? We can pass it. They were married.
They were married in 1929 and then they divorced in 1940. Then they got married again that same year.
Okay, so married, divorced. I feel like they actually got remarried again much later. But anyways, the point is they were married, they were divorced, they were remarried. Okay, who's got more details? You got to understand their relationship to understand the art that goes with it. Lauren, what else you got?
He was kind of abusive to her, and like he was also 20 years older than her.
Okay, definite age gap. When they met or started working together, like he was already this famous painter, right? And she was just kind of getting started. So there was definitely like an older man type relationship, and he was her mentor, he was her teacher, and then obviously it ultimately evolved from there. But a definite age gap. Now you mentioned some abusive behavior. I'm not sure that I've read not like physical abuse. There was definitely some emotional stuff going on. Did anybody get any more?
Like messy.
Go ahead, Lauren. What'd you say?
It was just like a messy relationship. Like because they got like married, then divorced, and then they were back and forth like that. And they weren't always on the best terms.
For sure. Yes. Anybody have more details before I elaborate? Go ahead, Anna.
They had an open relationship.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, he did certainly. So, I mean, not that it makes it right. They both had affairs for sure, but I mean, he definitely started it like from the beginning. He always had a lot of ladies in his life. And ultimately, like she definitely cheated on him as well. Yeah, so there was a lot of infidelity for sure. And I guess, I think what I've grown to understand as I've studied these artists more is when you think of artists, right, whether they are painters, sculptors, musicians, any kind of artist, people tend to be very passionate, right? They tend to be very passionate about their art, writers, all of these people. So it seems to me like in general, I'm making a generalization here. When things are great, they are great. When they are terrible, they are terrible, right? So very up and down. These are two very passionate people who were married to each other. And so I think when things were great, they were amazing. And when they were terrible, they were like truly terrible. So I think a very tumultuous relationship would be a good way to describe that. Okay. So again, let's kind of keep going here. I think it's number 4. And again, you have to really kind of understand all this to understand the artwork. That's why it's important to get some of this information. So what horrible thing happened to Frida? There are actually 2 things. One when she was littler and then one as a teenager. Jake, what'd you find?
She got in a bad bus accident,
Mhm.
and then didn't she also have polio?
Yeah. So as a kid, she had polio. And so she had like a bad leg. Like she could walk, but not well. Like she always had a limp. And then, yeah, she was in this terrible trolley and bus accident. And she was just like never the same again. It like derailed her whole life. Anybody have more before I don't want to take away anything that you wanted to share. Okay. So, yeah, so she was just in physical pain really for the rest of her life. She never really recovered. It was months and months and months that she spent in bed after this accident. Oh, there is one more thing. Anybody find out like another kind of big lasting long-term effect from the accident that you'll see in her artwork? Anybody find anything else specific? Shoot, I bet you as soon as I say it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I did read that. She was not able to have children, probably because of the accident. She was like, yes, I knew people would be like, yeah, I did see that. She was impaled, like literally like from, one side of her body to the other. So she always wanted kids and she just had miscarriage after miscarriage. And it's just important to understand all these things because when you look at her artwork, which I'm sure if you hadn't seen it before, you were like, wow, okay. It's different, that's for sure. But you have to understand her background to start to even understand what her artwork is about. So, okay, let's move on to number 5 then. How did that event number 4, the big accident, change her life? It kind of just changed the whole course of her life. What did it cause her to start doing? What'd you get for number 5? Jack.
Didn't she start doing more like paintings of her like being like harmed and stuff like that?
Yeah. Well, she just in general, she started painting more, right? So you picture, I don't know, like the 20s or the 30s in Mexico, and you're bedridden for months and months and months. There's not a whole lot to do, right? So she started painting more. I don't know, maybe before then she would like sketch and draw, but being stuck in bed, she started drawing and painting. And then also for sure what you said, then a lot of her what she painted about, I'm sure changed, right? She went from doing like a lot of like still lives and fruit to like more personal things. So let's kind of lead that into number 6 then. What did Frida mainly paint about and why? What did you find? Gus?
She painted a lot of portraits and things about Mexico.
Mm-hmm. So she painted a lot of self-portraits and definitely a lot about Mexican culture. Good. Anybody else want to add to that? I mean, when you look at her paintings, yes, it's her, but there's a lot more going on there. What comes across in her paintings? Does she look like she's like happy, just chilling with her friends at the beach, having a good time? Give me something. So what, Charlie, I see you shaking your head. What do you think it?
She's just kind of like serious, I guess.
Yeah, definitely serious. Does she look like she's in pain at all?
She's almost showing like no emotion at all.
Oh, true. Like she does have a very stoic face in a lot of them. Okay, Alyssa. Sorry, Tal, were you going to say something too?
I was about to say she liked animals and nature a lot.
She did. Yeah. So she did like animals and nature. She had monkeys as pets. So if you saw monkeys in her paintings, and I'll pull some up here in a second, those were her pets. She had pet monkeys and dogs, little chihuahuas and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she definitely painted a lot about herself. People say that like her paintings are basically like her diary. All right. If you think of if you've ever kept a diary or a journal, or you just, I mean, you understand the reason behind it, right? To record your feelings or to express them, to get them out. That's what she did with her paintings, right? Her paintings were not really meant for like resale. They weren't really meant to go in museums. That wasn't what she was thinking. She was literally just like expressing herself. So, people do that through writing, through poetry, through, I mean, all kinds of different things, right? Through going for a run, through writing, in a journal. So she painted. That's how she expressed her feelings. And again, I think hopefully now that you know that, or as you're thinking about that, when I show you a painting here in a minute, you can maybe start to put together like what is going on, because they are quite shocking to look at if you don't understand any of the background. Okay, so let's pause for a minute and talk about Diego. So number 7 says, what did Diego mainly paint about? So Diego Rivera was the more famous painter. He was hugely famous in his lifetime. Frida did not become famous mostly until after she died, the very end of her life, but mostly after she died. So Diego was this world famous painter. So what did he paint about? Who found some info about him? Somebody hasn't gone yet. Share. What'd you find out about Diego? I don't know. Alejandro, you got anything about Diego for us?
No.
Okay, I'm glad you're there though. Won't count you absent. All right, I'm coming back to you. Dariana, what'd you find out about Diego? What did he paint about?
I didn't write nothing for that part.
Okay, we're coming back to you too. I don't know, Aaron, you got anything about Diego?
I said he painted murals.
Yes, perfect. So he was a muralist. He painted these huge murals on the sides of buildings, on the insides of buildings, outside of buildings, huge murals. Okay, and somebody want to tell me what were they about? Jack asked, did you get what they were about?
I did not.
Okay, I appreciate you still being there. I don't know, who have Charles, did you get anything? What did Diego paint about?
I don't have that one, but I have the picture of, I have number 8, if you would like to do that one.
Okay, I will come back to you for number 8 in just a second. All right, can I get a hand? Can somebody please help me? Tell me, what did Diego paint about? Painted murals. Anna, what were they about?
I wrote down that he made some of them political because he was like a communist.
Mm-hmm. They were definitely political. They were definitely like, he was a man of the people. He fought for the people's rights. He wanted, indigenous rights. He wanted the people of Mexico to have access to education and work and healthcare. And, he didn't want them to be oppressed, which is how they were basically being treated. So it was the Mexican Revolution was going on, and it was this whole big political time. And he played a big role in that. And he was very outspoken in his art. And sometimes that went over well, and sometimes it didn't. But it got a lot of attention, and he got him a lot of fame, and it made him a lot of money. So, okay, so let's talk about some paintings. I've got some I'm going to show you. Charles is going to start us off. What painting did you find? And I'll throw up a few that people can talk about.
I found one with Frida having 5 blue butterflies around her with an orange background and a flower bouquet or crown that she wears.
Okay, I do not have that exact one. I am going to put up one that is a little similar. I don't have that exact one, but I have one that we can kind of talk about. And then Charles, maybe you can, let's see. Oops, wait, probably help if I shared it. Hold on, stop. It's a great slideshow I just did for myself. Okay. Hold on. All right. Okay, let me go back to the beginning here. Let's talk about something like this. Okay, so again, not exactly what you described, but kind of her basically being the main part of it, right? So I don't know. I guess, Charles, if you want to talk about this one, you can. I know it wasn't the one that you had planned to, that you had looked at, but is there anything in there that you can kind of start to understand what's going on, or why, or what you find interesting, or I don't know. I'm going to start us off here.
She has her pet monkeys within the mural.
Yeah. So as we said, she likes animals. She likes monkeys. Probably the jaguar behind her is like a symbol of Mexico. Good. What else is going on there? Somebody else want to chime in? What are you thinking here? Does she look happy? Does she look sad? What's going on in this area? I feel like there's a lot of symbolism there. What do you think? I don't know. Michelle, what do you think?
To me, it kind of looks like thorns around her neck.
For sure. Now, why would she have thorns being wrapped around her neck? I think she's got like a dead hummingbird there. It's pretty dark. What do you think, Michelle? What's causing some pain for her? Can you connect it?
Her relationship, probably.
Yeah, for sure. Right. So when you look at these, they look quite painful, physically, emotionally, all of it. I would say her relationship with Diego, again, we said it was so good and it was so bad. Okay. What else is the pain? What's the physical pain that she had her whole life? What do we talk about? What's the physical pain? Sorry. Yeah. Who said that?
Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie. So yeah, polio, sure. And what else besides that, Charlie? What was the other thing?
Couldn't have children.
Couldn't have children, absolutely. And she couldn't have children because of the accident, right? So I would say all of those things are constantly causing her pain. And if you think about the symbolism here, like you've got this like necklace of thorns like digging into her, right? It's always around her neck. It's always causing her pain. It's always, it's always there. And so I think, again, if you can just start to kind of understand a little bit more why, it makes it a little bit clearer when you understand her background. All right, so let's talk about this one. I think is an interesting one. I don't know if anybody saw this one. What do you think? Anybody want to talk? Share your thoughts? What's going on here? What are you thinking? Who's on her head? What's going on here? What do you think? I don't know. Jasmine, what do you think?
I see Diego on her forehead.
Uh-huh. Why do you think Diego's on her forehead?
Maybe because she thinks all about him or something.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure she thinks about him all the time, right? When things are good, when things are not so good. Good. What else are you thinking? Anybody want to follow that up with anything? What's going on with these? I don't know what these are. I mean, I'm no expert, right? I kind of know about them and then we make some guesses. What is this? What does that look like? Why would that be there? What are those things everywhere? What could that be? I don't know. What I heard from Dariana, what could all these things be?
They look like wires. I don't know.
Could be wires. Okay. Any other thoughts? Jack S., what could they be?
They you said the flowers?
I don't know. I was kind of just interested in these things. What are these? All these things?
I think it could be like cracks.
Oh, okay. Why would there be cracks?
It would just be like another way of her like expressing like how she feels.
I like that. Yeah, totally. And again, there's no right or wrong answer, guys. I'm no like art expert. I'm just looking at the same pictures you are. I've looked at them many times with many students, but otherwise, yeah, I think that's a good idea. They could be cracks. They could be representing the cracks in her life, the cracks in her marriage, the pain. Actually, somebody last period said it could be like broken glass, again, like all of it kind of showing pain. All right. Here's an interesting one. This one's called Dos Fridas. This is probably one of her most famous paintings. Anybody look at this one? Anybody have any thoughts on this one? What's going on? Why? Look at the background. Look at the way the two Fridas are dressed, connected by their heart. What do you think? Make you think of anything? I'll tell you, this is a more like traditional Mexican dress. This is a more like European dress. So I think definitely at the time there was this like cultural kind of division between people that were more traditional and then people that were kind of more modern. And maybe that you feel like you're torn between two different worlds. Think about your own life, right? Are there things in your life where like you feel like almost two different people? Like when you're in a setting with your friends or a setting with your family, or you're in, I don't know, in school versus at home, like, do you ever feel like there are two parts of you and how do they fit together? Do you act differently in one place versus another? Do you feel like a different person? Do you have to hide who you are? You know, so I think there's a lot of that going on in something like that. All right. I always like this one too. All right. Somebody give me your thoughts here. What's going on? Nice deer hopping through the woods in a sunny day. Not quite. What's going on with this one and why? I don't know. Who hasn't said much? Anybody want it? Alejandro, what are you thinking about this one?
It looks like she got hunted.
Yeah. She looks like she's in pain. What could be causing her pain, or what is she being hunted by, you think, Alejandro?
I don't know.
Like, what are some of the things we keep talking about? What's causing her pain in her life?
I forgot.
All right, somebody want to help him? What do you think those arrows could be representing? Alyssa?
Like the accident and not being able to have kids.
Yeah, absolutely. It always comes back to these things, right? Her physical pain from the accident, her emotional pain of not being able to have children, the pain of her marriage, you know, being so up and down. And again, you have to think about, these are like her journal. This is her expressing her feelings. So I always think this one is quite striking. I don't know. It's just very different. But at least that maybe helps you see some of the symbolism. Look, the fallen branches, look how stormy it is in the background. You know, usually deer like run and they're free, and she does not feel free, right? For a number of different reasons. Okay, so this is just another one, kind of her like looking in the bathroom and the bathtub at her reflection, different symbols there. Another one here with, again, you have like a Mexican dress, you've got like a more modern dress, you've got a schoolgirl, like school uniform, see the big heart on the ground, you know, her kind of stuck maybe between two worlds. You can see maybe her leg is bad there. So all of these things, at least if you see these pictures now, you might have a little bit better understanding of what's going on. She really tried to paint, you know, what was going on with her, what was going on in her country or her world. And now let's look at a couple of Diegos. All right, so different, right? You've got some different themes going on here and here. I'm going to show you another one. Right, these are these big murals. You see lots of people. You see the Mexican, the eagle from the Mexican flag. You see a lot of native people. You can see here like some armies. You can see probably them fighting the Spanish. It looks like maybe some Aztec or Mayan people here. Here, I'll leave it on this one. Again, is like a marketplace. You can see Mexico City. You can see the pyramids in the background. You can see the mountains. I guess actually I'm going to go back to this one. I thought there was more. Here you can kind of see like an uprising of some kind. So again, very different style, much more political. This has to do with probably the Mexican Revolution. And again, like you see the people in all of his pictures, the people, the day-to-day people fighting for the people's rights. So maybe you saw some of these big murals when you were looking at some of his work. So I don't know, anybody have anything else to say about some of Diego's work there? Kind of watching our time, I want to save our last part of class here to show you a little movie clip. All right, well, hopefully that gives you a little perspective on them as individuals, as artists, their relationship. What I want to do now is kind of wrap it up with showing you a little movie clip. If we were in class, I like to talk about these artists and I like to do a whole little project with them. And then I show you this movie. It's called Frida. I am not going to show it to you. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to do my whole build up and creative, let you make something type project, but I at least want to show you a little clip of this. So what I'm going to show you is a little clip called Portrait of an Artist. And I think that I love this movie so much because they use all of her artwork. So they'll talk about it in the movie. They talk about how they made it and why they made it. And it tells the story not only of their lives, but it has so much Mexican history in it and Mexican culture in it. And if you find yourself interested, then you should check out the movie. It is rated R, so be forewarned.